entertain you.
Okay, thank you.
Way, way, hey, oh. Way,
Way, way,
way,
hey, hey, oh.
way, hey,
Oh,
way,
way, hey, hey, oh.
way, way,
Way,
way,
way,
way,
way,
way,
way,
All right, let's start off with a prayer and then we'll get into class. Let's see what Spirit brings us today. Good morning, Creator, and thank you so much for this beautiful and blessed day that we are all having. Give us the courage and the strength to get through the strong energy that is hidden each and every one of us as the days go by with struggles, blocking energy that we can't get through, as we deal with our emotions to release these so that the flow of your energy can come through us better. We thank you for this. We thank you for your gentle, kind hand upon our hearts as we're immersing into our journey on this path of love for ourselves. Bless each and every one of us and keep us all safe. Amen.
Amen.
Song?
Yes.
Your words, mixed with your beliefs, blend to become your reality. What you do over your life is what your life will be. If you're always talking about how you're stuck where you are, how you can't find a way to get out of the situation you're in, how you never get any luck, how you'll never be wealthy, well, you're right. You'll never have those things if that's what you say and that's what you believe. If you don't believe it, you won't even try to get it.
Instead of saying, I don't know how to do it, say, I am committed to learn how to do it. Instead of saying, I always procrastinate, never get anything done, say, I am going to find something that matters to me more than anything, and then I am going to get the job done. Instead of saying, I'm a failure, say, I failed. I've learned the lesson, and when I become a huge success, that failure is going to make for one hell of a story. Instead of saying, my best days are behind me, say, my best is yet to come. Instead of believing others are born lucky or with special gifts, know that you are capable of anything. Know that you can study and commit to learning from great people. Know that you can become a great person in your own right. Every day, look yourself in the mirror and say, I am a great person. I am a kind person. I am strong. I am capable of anything. I am growing more each day. I am committed. I am determined. I have no limits. I can have the health and the body of my choice. I will have the health and the body of my choice. I can have the wealth of my choice. I will have the wealth of my choice. I do deserve abundance. I am worthy. I am more than worthy. I can make a huge difference in others' lives. I will make that difference. Gandhi once said, your beliefs become your thoughts become your words become your actions become your habits become your values become your destiny. When you start blending your beliefs and your words together, they become so powerful you can move mountains. You are the creator of your destiny, and it starts with the words you speak into your life. Speak positive things into your life, strong things. Speak love and happiness into your life, and you'll notice more love and happiness. Speak good of others, and you may see more good from others. Speak your dreams into existence. Believe your dreams will become reality. Act and live as though they are, and they soon will be. Muhammad Ali said he would be the greatest, and he became the greatest. He had no doubt in his mind. That is the same level of certainty you should speak about your dreams. I am healthy. I am wealthy. I am wise. Opportunities are everywhere. Money flows with ease. Joy is everywhere. I am attracting such amazing people into my life. I am blessed. I am surrounded by blessings. I have more than enough. I am full of energy. I am strong. I am fit. I am such a positive influence to those around me. I have amazing friends. I am abundant. I am constantly growing my income. I am constantly growing myself. I am constantly getting healthier, stronger, and fitter. My relationships are getting stronger every day. More love and joy every day. Sticks and stones may break your bones, but your words can shatter your dreams. Your beliefs, thoughts, and words will, I guarantee you, determine your destiny. Whatever you believe is your limit is your limit. Every day, look yourself in the mirror and say, I am a great person. I am a kind person. I am strong. I am capable of anything. I am growing more each day. I am committed. I am determined. I have no limits. I can have the health and the body of my choice. I will have the health and the body of my choice. I can have the wealth of my choice. I will have the wealth of my choice. I do deserve abundance. I am worthy. I am more than worthy. I can make a huge difference in others' lives. I will make that difference.
Daily affirmations are helpful because they reprogram your mind, your thoughts and beliefs. Some of the most successful people on earth practice daily affirmations. If you're doing it consistently, every single day, in the morning before you start your day, you will begin to develop new beliefs, and your life will start to change before your eyes. If it's not natural at first, if you feel like the words aren't believable, stick with it. The goal is to feel as though you already have the things you want. As you speak the words, feel as though you are already that person. Whatever words work for you, write them down, your own affirmation, and read them every day. That's the key. Repetition and feeling the words. If they get old, freshen them up to something more powerful and meaningful.
All yours, Shahwin.
All right. So today we're going to talk about what we just listened to our thoughts and our emotions. And I'm sure each and every single one of you, including myself, when you were watching that video, some part of it hit home for you. Because one of the biggest things we do to ourselves is we really punish ourselves with our own thoughts. And whether it be guilt or anything else that you're experiencing at that moment due to somebody else or just due to your own emotions that you're having about stuff. So I really wanted to touch upon that today because this past week, I've really went through a lot of stuff with inside myself about what your thoughts can do to you, because your thoughts, you're giving it out to the universe, and we've had class like that. Whatever you put out, you're going to get back, right? That's just how it works. But do you really become aware of it and pay attention to what you're putting out, what your thoughts are, because that's how you're going to change the pattern. Because we do get in a cycle pattern, and it's very easy to do, and it's very easy not to be aware that you're in a pattern and a cycle. But once you become aware of it, that's when you can start working to break out of it. And I'm going to give you an example. Like I moved my daughter and my grandbaby here 2 years ago. Because my grandson's very sick. He doesn't have an immune system. So he has about like 32 doctors up in Nashville at the hospital there that he has to go see. So he goes to the hospital around 20 to 30 times a week. And where my daughter was living at, she didn't have much of a support system. So I brought her up here to try to help create her a support system because she didn't have one. And but what really happened was, for me, I did create her a support system. She still needs a lot of support, and people that she could talk to. But as a mother, you don't want to see your children go through stuff. So I got into the mother role. Oh, let me fix this. Let me do that for you. And that's partly why I had my heart attack too, is I overworked myself, never gave back to myself because I had took on giving it all to her because she needed a lot of help. So I forgot about myself. And it's very important to give back to yourself, no matter what you're doing. And then another thing that I became aware of is when a person is in a chaos and having issues, you can step into that chaos with the person, to help them out. But you can also get lost in the chaos if you're not aware that you're, creating a pattern with it. And I had created a pattern with my daughter. And so what happened with me is I worked myself to death, trying to help fix her problems. And which we did get a lot of things corrected and her set up in a better situation, but it took a toll on me. So after my heart attack, I couldn't be around the baby. I still have trouble being around the baby because even though he's sick, he's very active. And so it's very, I have a hard time dealing with his energy at this time because I'm so sensitive to energy and have always been. So I started making excuses in my mind. Now, I wasn't spitting these excuses out for quite a long time, But then I got into this pattern that if I told people I didn't feel good, or if I told her I didn't feel good, then I could stay at home. I wouldn't have to go over and help her that day. It became a very aggressive pattern within me. So the whole last year, I stayed in my bed most of the time because I was spitting out of my mouth that I did not feel good. And it became a pattern. So I lived in my bed most of the time last year until I realized that my own thoughts, not my daughter's, but my own thoughts put me there. And so I had to change the way I was thinking. And I realized that, you know, I was the one that was making myself not feel good because I was speaking it out of my mouth and I was bringing it and creating it into my existence, which we all do without even realizing it. So it's very important to understand that you can create these things. So if you have problems with somebody, you know, because they're always negative, and we're always going to run into somebody that's negative and cannot be positive and everything. And you really truly want to help them become positive, but they just stay negative. Then you start speaking that out to other people. I went over there, but they're so negative and I can't get them to be positive. What do you think you're creating for them? What are you heaping on their heads by what you're saying? Because see, that energy hits other people too when you talk about it. So if you're spitting it out of your mouth, you're creating it. That's what I really want to get everybody to look at today. You know, pay attention to what you're creating. If you want the person to change, then show them the love, show them the kindness. You know, I'm not saying to be, you know, to put yourself in a situation where you have to deal with abuse or anything like that. But when you're by yourself and you're thinking about the problem, instead of looking at it in the negative way, create it into a positive way. And so like with my daughter, when I go home, I look at it as she's able to, because right now she's in a pickle. Her car tore up. She doesn't have no transportation to get the baby back and forth to the hospital. Hurt her foot a month and a half ago, where she's gonna have to be off her foot for 9 months. So she can't drive, no car. And on top of that, she has COVID now. And so she really needs y'all's prayers too to get well. And nobody can go by right now because she's so badly infected with COVID, you know, that you'll take a big chance of getting COVID. I can't go and even help her with the baby right now, and she really needs help. So what I've been doing is creating it for her to get well quicker, and creating that the baby is helping, you know, and staying strong so he doesn't get it, which we don't believe he'll get it because he had his infusion a couple of days before she got sick with it. And the nurse that helps her also has COVID, so the nurse is not there to help her. So it's a big mess. So when you come across messes like this, you know, we try, especially as a mother, you try to help. There's not much I can do. You know, if I go over there, I'm going to get really sick. And I know that because I don't have an immune system. I'm like the baby. And so I'd be putting myself in great danger. But also I could keep my vibration up, depending on how you accept it. Does it mean I could not get it? You're going to get things, but you have a better chance if your vibration is kept high. You have a clear conscious of what you're doing and you're creating good things. You have a better chance of not that energy, because everything is energy attracting to you. But that's something that each one of us has to learn for ourselves. Nobody can teach it to you. So one of the biggest things that I'm doing for myself and my child right now is like I said, I fell into this pattern, and it was in the chaos, you know, because her life is very chaotic. I couldn't fix that. You know, that's her stuff that she has to fix. She has to look within inside herself and say, hey, what can I change to make it better? You know, to calm the chaos, to calm the energy. But sometimes when you're in it, you can't see to do that. And it becomes a swirling hurricane around you. So one of the biggest things that I've learned, that when you really truly do understand how the energy works and how to create it, how to push it, how to move it, then you can stand in the center of that chaos. And it's kind of like a hurricane, but you'll be in the eye of it where it's not swirling around so fast. And then you can help calm it down. But that takes a lot of practice to do that. And even a person that has knowledge can fall into the trap and get into the chaos. And I did that last year and ended up in the bed the whole year until I realized why is this happening? And, you know, it took me a whole year to realize that I had created it with my own thoughts. Nobody created it for me. I created my own surroundings, and I dealt with it the way my human body wanted to deal with it. So my human body says, I don't want to deal with this. I'm going to bed. I don't feel good today. And guess what? I was in the bed not feeling good until I decided one day to go, you know, self, you do feel good. You don't need to get in the bed. And I started changing that thought around. And even if I felt bad that day, I would get up and say, I feel great today. And within, I'd say 3 to 4 weeks, I popped out of that dark, chaotic swirl that I had been in for a whole year with my thoughts and my daughter. And then when the light come on and the awareness come on, hey, I did this to myself. I had to start a new pattern for myself and a new strategy to help her and myself so that I didn't fall back into that. And of course, she recognized it, and it has kind of hurt her feelings a little bit, you know. But I had to sit down and priorities, and the priorities weren't for my daughter; they were for me to abide by, you know, to give myself the time I needed instead of giving it to everybody else. Because I do, I'm a giver, and I will give you every bit of time I have in the day if you're hurting, if you need help. And guess what? I'll be going 90 miles an hour from sun up to sundown without taking a break because somebody needs me. And I can't do that to myself anymore because I'm very important too. which we all learn. That's about learning self-love. You have to give it to yourself first before you give it to anybody else. And we're always looking for You know, somebody to love you, somebody to make you feel good, somebody to bring you happiness. Well, guess what? Nobody can do that for you except for yourself. That all lies within yourself. And until you find it within inside yourself, it doesn't matter how hard you go looking on the outside looking for it, you will never find it. Now you'll find people that will take care of that. And I'll call it an itch for just a little bit. And then you'll find out, I don't want to be around this person. You know, why do I even allow this person in my life? Well, it took care of what you thought you needed at the time. And you thought you found it on the outside because you did find it for a short period of time because that like-minded energy attracted to you, right? So if you want to hold on to it and sincerely grow into your self-love and into the person that's your authentic self, okay? You have to give it to yourself. Don't go looking for it out there because it's not there. But it is inside of you. And when you find it, you will put priorities down. You'll put stipulations down for yourself too, so that you can create your happiness. This program, you know, I hope will help a lot of people. And I hope it stays on YouTube for many, many, many moons. Because one day you will wake up when you start doing this on the inside work and giving it all to yourself, you're going to find out how much authentically, when you find your authentic self, how much love, how much joy is there that you didn't even tap into because you was always looking for it on the outside of yourself. But it's all right in here. And you gotta find it in here. And when you find it, you've tapped into the flowing waters of the roots of Creator. And guess what? Then you can give it to everybody. And it's an endless flow. So you never get exhausted from giving it out. But you gotta find it first. I think I would go dig for your gold. It's inside yourself. You know that saying, the grass is not greener on the other side. That's true. It's not greener on the other side. That grass is very green on the inside of yourself if you can find it. But guess what? You're going to be just like me. We're human. You're going to fall into those traps of your fleshly human needs of wanting to make somebody else happy. You know, give all of yourself to somebody else. And that pattern's there and we have to break it because we've been conditioned to do that. You know, that's one of the patterns that's conditioned. I mean, how many of y'all did your mother say, if you see somebody and they need a coat or something, you give it to them? Okay. Well, you know, my mother forgot to tell me, don't give them the coat off your back because you're going to need that coat too. And that's where the key is. Give it to yourself first. When you have it, then give it to somebody else. Because when you give it to yourself, you get abundance. Abundance comes, joy comes, love comes. You know, and when you truly, truly hit that spot inside your heart, you're going to really have some deep thoughts about that you're going to talk to yourself about, because you're going to realize that all the times that you were sad, that somebody made you mad, that somebody did this to you and that created this, you're going to realize nobody did that except for yourself, because you chose to feel and accept that emotion as your own. Just because you're going through it doesn't mean you have to own it. It's energy, it's a language. And if I could go back to my teenage years when my mama had left me and everything, and I had this this knowledge that you could create your happiness within inside yourself and then create it on the outside of yourself, it's no telling where I'd be at today. If I'd have had that, somebody teach me that at a young age, because instead of creating happiness, I created sadness for me. And I did create it. And it was with my choices, not nobody else's, that all the other stuff happened to me in my life. And it was what I chose. So who can you blame? You know, because we've been taught to put the blame on people, put the blame on something. It's because something happened. Well, that something's you. You know, and if you choose to be sad, nobody else told you to be sad. You told yourself, I'm sad and this is what I'm going to do today. And I'm mad and this is how I'm going to be today. And I don't care what anybody else says. This is how I feel. And they could just go on and do whatever they wanted to get away from me, but I'm going to be mad today. So guess what? You chose that. So when you learn that you don't have to choose that, even though there's bad things going on around you, you can choose to be happy. You can choose to have joy in your heart and go, yes, well, this has happened, but it's okay. It's okay, we'll get through this. Instead of going, oh gosh, here comes another slammer. I've been slammed down to the ground. I'm gonna have to go through this again. You know, because guess what? You spitting it out of your mouth, it's gonna keep creating all of that. So step out of the whirlwind and get steady and create some calmness. Create some happiness. Find your gratitude. Gratitude is a very important step in this. You know, every day, you know, this is why I say get a notebook and start writing your feelings down. Because if you can notice how you feel every day, you'll be able to correct those times when you're not feeling good. When you become aware of it. Because if you write it down, you're going to start seeing the pattern of how many times you go into that. And when you recognize it's a pattern, guess what? A pattern can be broken. And this world breaks all of us. Each and every one of us probably on this call has had a broken heart. You know. And how many of us have said, my heart will never heal because it's been so broken. Because I hear that a lot. I've said it to myself a lot. Well, guess what? If you keep saying that to yourself, your heart's not never going to heal. Because you need to know your heart is healed. You are healthy. Your heart's not broken to a million pieces. Unless you want it to be broken in a million pieces. You're the one that has control over it. Nobody else. Did they do the damage? Well, yes, they created the damage, but you created it by accepting it. So you have a choice to accept it or not accept it. But we have been conditioned to receive all the bad. And you don't have to. Every day you can get up. It could be pouring down rain. There could be a hurricane coming. You could have holes in the roof and rain dripping down in your house. And you go, oh my goodness, I'm going to lose everything. Well, guess what's going to happen if you keep saying that? You're going to lose everything. But guess what? When you lose everything, that opens up your heart because there's nothing there because you lost everything. And guess what? You have empty space to create and put something else there, right? Sometimes that happens. That's how spirit works too. He takes away all the clutter so you have a new space to work in. But it's hard because we take our emotions with us, and until you really truly understand that your emotions are a language that's coming through you, and you're not supposed to own it. No owner should have put all on it. Feel it, understand it, and then let it go. Because there will be days that you have sadness. Okay, we can't get out of that. The world is in distress right now. It's been in distress for years. So there's a lot of unhappy things out there. So that's part of the programming. We see it on the news every day, and you go, oh my goodness, you know. But what happens without even us thinking about it, because we've been programmed, we've attached to that emotion, and it keeps us trapped there. When you become aware and you start balancing, you will start, the minute you see something like that, you will start pushing in the energy for creativity to bless the people and ask Creator to bless them, you know, and still have the joy in your heart and the happiness in your heart. And I hope y'all understand what I mean by that. Because it's really hard to put into words sometimes how to get there. But you'll get there. And see, a lot of people don't understand, you know, there's a lot of master teachers, they say, out like, you know, Gandhi was a master teacher, you know, Buddha, the Dalai Lama. Do you not think they don't have the same emotions that we have? And that they don't experience the same things we do? Of course. Do you hear those stories? No. You don't hear those stories. Think, why don't you hear those stories? How come we don't hear those stories? Well, for my own conclusion, you know, y'all might come up with something else. They created what they wanted the people to see. And they created the good part. I mean, how much of it do you see of the bad part? There's not too much of it out there because it was created all in love and, you know, their creativity of what that was supposed to be. There's a good example, you know, if you think about Jesus and his story. You know, he came and he created goodness. He created healing. And he was trying to show everybody that, right? And he knew what his destiny was. And some of us already know what our destiny is. And we can't explain how we know it. You know, we've got people that say, well, how do you know what your life purpose is? And how do you know if you're on it? You'll only know when you reach that inner side of yourself. You know, when you get to the inside of yourself, you know where you're going and you know what you have to do. And when you first get there, it'll scare you. You know, that's a human emotion, you know, because you'll go, how are people going to think about me if I do this? Oh my goodness, I can't do this. It's going to make me look weird. That's the humanness of it, because we are in a human body. But the stronger you become into yourself, you will bring that joy and that love and that understanding. And you're going to get to the point where you don't care what anybody else thinks. That's their thoughts. It doesn't matter. If they're being mean to you and they calling you bad names, that's how they feel. They have a right to feel like that because they've chose to feel like that. But you don't have to choose to listen to any of that and accept any of that. Yeah, it's what's in here. And it's hard, especially when you have families. I think the hardest thing is when you have a family. Because you're not only dealing with yourself, but you're dealing with all the people that you love. And it's very hard to see them going through stuff. But if you're not going through anything, you're not growing. If everything was good, then something's wrong. You know, there's no balance because the balance has to be in there. We have a yin and the yang, you know, we live in duality. That's one of the laws of this world, right? We talked about the laws of attraction, you know, and the 12 universal laws. Well, one of them's duality. There is always going to be a yin with the yang. So if somebody is always happy, something's wrong. You know, something's wrong because there has to be a balance. If you have too much, and see, I learned this with my heart attack too. And I had told this to somebody, you know, I had forgot to give myself joy because I was so busy helping everybody else. So I had left joy out of my life. And so you got to make sure that you put every ingredient, and I'm gonna call it ingredient, into your pie that you're making with inside yourself. So that you have all the ingredients, because if not, Spirit's going to show you which one you're lacking in, because it has to all be balanced to make the perfect wholeness that He wants us all to be, which is our authentic self. Yeah. So we're putting together a masterpiece, because we are all the masters of it. Now this is really unique because nobody can do it but you. You have to choose the right word, the right technique. Are you going to be sad or are you going to be happy? And if you're in a sad moment, how can you create a joyful moment so that you can hop over to the other side to balance it out? Well, there you have it. You got to learn how. We're surfing on the wave, y'all. You're on a surfboard going like this, and some of us fall off and drown in the water. I did for a whole year. I stayed in the bed. I was like, nope, ain't doing it. You know, but you got to get up and ride that wave. And you got to learn about it. Got to understand it. Understand yourself. And that's, you know, we all go out and try to understand everybody else. 2 years, put all my interest into my daughter, trying to understand her. Why does she do it this way instead of that way? It'd be so much easier if she did it that way. Well, guess what? That is her own destiny to fulfill, not mine. But as a mother, you know, you got to get out of that mothering. You're going to always be a mother. But she's in her 30s, so she needs to go direct her own life. You know, but we have been programmed. Like I said, you got to break the programming. But before you can break that programming, you got to see the cycle that it creates in you. Mine was, I'm going to bed, I don't feel good. For a whole year, 12 months. That's a cycle, right? Some people can stay in it for 7 years. And it does go by. What is that called? Rodney, help me out. The number code that they have, 3, 6, 9, 12, you know, in sacred geometry. And the sacred matrix of the world, the makeup of the numbers. What is it called? The It's a scale. Rodney, do you know what I'm talking about?
I'm thinking shamanic resonance, but I don't think that's what you're thinking. It's the
No.
Frequency of Mother Earth.
No, it's not a frequency, it's a number code where all the numbers match. Like you got 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12.
It's not numerology, is it?
Well, it is part of numerology, but there is a sacred master code of numbers in the way everything was created in life, even down to the leaves. But there's a name for it, and I'm sorry, I can't.
Is it the prime numbers?
Yes, the prime numbers are part of it, but you
Oh, it's
also
part of
have- Look, you have the prime numbers, but then you have the odd numbers, right?
Yeah, I can't think of the word.
It's not
Okay.
sacred geometry.
Mhm.
Yeah, if you go into sacred geometry, you'll be able to find out what I'm talking about. But you see the balance of, they have the prime numbers and then they have the odd numbers. There's the balance. Okay, and so in everything we do, there's like a number sequence. So this is how you can start seeing your patterns and your cycles. So like, I was in the bed for a whole year, right? That's 12 months. So next year, and I do know this because it's a pattern, I will have to work for the next 12 months to stay joyful, happy, and tell myself to stay out of the bed to break the pattern, because on that 12th moment and at that exact minute next year, I'll break that cycle pattern. But you have to know the moment and the minute. But the more you become conscious with inside yourself and your authentic self, when you start breaking these patterns and cycles, you'll just know. But like I was telling you, it can take up to 7 years. That's where the 7-year itch came from. You know, they tell you, oh, you're gonna repeat something in 7 years. Well, that's part of the pattern. So like if you go back to through your life, through your lifetime, you would be able to see some patterns in your life. How many times did you repeat it? Well, for me, how many times did I repeat getting abused? Many, many times. You know? But I chose that. You know, a lot of people's not going to agree with me on that, but I did choose that. Because I could have stopped it. But with inside myself, I didn't know how to stop it. So that was the type of energy that was coming in, and that was the type of energy, because I was looking for somebody to love me. I was looking for somebody to take care of me. I was looking for all the wrong things that had been programmed into me as a child. But guess what? That was all the outside part. There was no inside at that time. And then when I started going in and going, oh, you know, things are a little different in here. Oh, I like it better in here. How can I stay in here? You know, and things started changing, and then you start seeing the cycle patterns and you start breaking them. And when you break all the patterns and the cycles off of yourself, that's when you go into the DNA cycle patterns of your siblings, your brothers and sisters, your children. Because guess what? If you don't break the patterns and cycles, your children have to go through it. This is very easy to see this pattern in the family of addiction. Why do you not think that addiction doesn't stop? Because it's been created as a pattern in the family unit. Okay, and if you have a parent that was an alcoholic and they did not try to fix that and come clean, then some one of the kids is going to be an alcoholic. And it doesn't skip a generation. So if you know, just research it. You'll see. There'll be a child that will go down the alcoholism or the addict because of that, because that pattern was left for them to break and clear off of the DNA line. Okay, and if the child clears it, then nobody else has to go through it. Their children won't go through it. And they say 7 years, but it can be longer. You can bring it up to 14, 27 years, depending on how well you work on yourself, clearing your DNA once you've cleared all that stuff that you put on yourself. So I really want y'all to think about it, because see, look, we're gonna go back to Jesus because we kind of left him out. You know, I started talking about him. You know, he came here to teach us how to heal ourselves, how to love one another, how to accept one another for what you are. And of course, then the bashing came in, right? Because he lived in duality like us. So what happened? Because they inflicted fear to people. You know, if you know this guy, you're going to get banished with him, you're going to hang on the cross with him. So people started going, no, I don't know, no. You know, and so it created that energy mass that actually ended up hanging him on the cross. But that was what his purpose was, for us to see the difference, in the energy patterns, in the cycle patterns of how each and every one of us deal with our emotions. Be love, be kindness. Are you going to get that back? Well, he didn't, did he? But you know what? When he hung on the cross, did he cuss anybody out? Did he say, oh, y'all are bad to me? No, he didn't. He created goodness for them. Please, Father, forgive them, for they do not know what they do. So he created that energy. Do you think it died when he passed away? It's still creating up there. I want y'all to really think about it. Energy does not go away. Energy is always here. So he stayed in that heart space, and he created joy, love, honor to himself, everything. He was a very strong warrior. And we're all trying to become strong warriors. We don't have to do it in religion, because guess what? Religion doesn't teach you how to get to your heart. It tells you not to be bad. It tells you to watch out for the devil. Well, who's the devil? Really, who's the devil? The devil is your ego itself. Now, this is my own opinion. The devil is the ego itself. And he will put you in a dungeon and he'll put you through hell. But guess what? Only you chose to go through it, because you're the one that chose to have that experience, to feel that emotion that way, to choose to live that way. Because we do have a choice. It's a lot to think about, y'all. And I hope y'all do think about it. I really, really hope y'all do. Because it'll change your life. If you start realizing that the only reason why you're mad today is not because they're having a bad day, it's because you chose to be mad. Why? You don't have to be like them. We've been taught to follow instead of being your own leader. It's easier to come to the energy of others than it is to be your authentic self. Okay, and people will ask you many times, how do you do it? Because they're going to see you standing in all the chaos and it's not affecting you, and they're going to go, well, how come it doesn't bother that person? They're going to come ask you questions. And you might be able to share it with them if they're ready to hear it. Because see, you have to have the ears to hear it too. You have to have eyes to see it. And you have to be able to speak it. But most definitely, for the authentic self, you have to be able to walk it. And not be ashamed to tell anybody, yeah, I was like that. Yeah, I was a drunk. Yeah, I did drugs. You have to show all those skeletons in your closet and not be ashamed of them. Because guess what? You went through all of that to become your authentic self. You had to experience everything. Some of us will experience more than others. You know, because we like to beat ourselves up. We like to feel guilty and feel unworthy. You know, so you got to, when you're working on yourself, and this is the I would suggest that you work on taking the guilt out of it and the shame that, you know, we were conditioned to give to ourselves, you know, because we were going, don't do that. You know, how many of y'all, when y'all were a kid and you got mad at somebody and you wanted to go in your room and shut the door and your parents wouldn't let you? And they said, no, come back out here. You got to apologize right now. How many times has that happened to you? Why do you think you were running in your room to shut the door and was it because you were mad? I mean, really think about it. Was it because you were mad? Or was it, that's your spiritual self trying to get you into a sacred quietness so that you could re-steady yourself? Because see, spirit's all around us. You know, but as a child, we cannot control our own emotions because our parents control it. But you got to understand that that little baby, that little 3-year-old, that little 6-year-old is a human being too and has feelings too, just like you do. And they have to learn how to use their voice. And if you're always telling them, come do this, do that, you know, then you're programming them. You're not directing them, you're programming them the same way you were programmed. And this is some of the stuff that we have to teach and get out to the elders now so that the youngins coming up will have a better chance to get to their authentic self before our age. Yeah. Break the programs, break the patterns, break the cycles. It begins with you, and only you can do it. I can't do it for you. And it's your choice. You have to choose. Do I want my authentic self, or do I want to stay in this human body and suffer? Even in your authentic self, you're going to suffer if you're in the human body, because that comes with it. But it's the way you choose to handle it and see it. Because it only comes for a season. It's not there for a lifetime. And the more you realize it, the shorter the seasons get. That's how the Dalai Lama does it. That's a secret, y'all. But when you understand, you know, it brings a smile to your face because it can only last for a period of time, and the energy has to change because the energy is always flowing and always changing. And so when you really truly understand that, even in a bad situation, you can smile because you know it's not always going to be like that. It has to change. Energy's moving. And that's how I'm going to lead the class today. You know, that's the end of it. And I hope I've gave you a lot to think about. Find that choice within. Choose the right things for yourself. It's going to surprise you when you really start. Start with a notebook, write down those words, those thoughts, those feelings that you have each day, and just go back and see if you can find a pattern in it. And if you see a pattern and you don't like it, change it. Because it's all up to you. And that's the end, y'all. And I can take questions now. So anybody that wants, has a question or wants to say something, just unmute yourself and,
I have a question.
okie dokie.
I mean, what's done is done. Okay, so what I have done in the past, is done. And I can't, like, how do I go back? I can't really how do I take the shame and the guilt out of it? Because it was wrong what I did. You see what I mean?
Oh,
I
well,
mean,
yeah.
I can't, yeah.
Look, I did some bad things when I was young. We all do. That's part of our lessons, you know. So yes, how do you take away the shame and the guilt? Well, first off, you're doing right by understanding that you have shame and guilt about it. But the biggest thing is taking away the ownership. That's the root. Pull the root out, the ownership of owning the shame and the guilt. And then give yourself forgiveness.
Mhm.
Okay. And also what helps too, because we create lots of things. And so if it was done, let's just say you did harm to another person and you can't go back and fix that because you don't even know where that person is now. You know, that was way back when you were like kids.
Mhm.
You push Billy down in the sandbox and say, get away from me. I don't want to play with you no more. But now you're feeling that. Because that does happen to us. But you don't know where this person's at to even say, hey, I'm sorry that I acted like that. Well, what you do is you bring your creative mind and thoughts into it where you actually see that person and you go up and you have a conversation in your mind with that person and say, please forgive me. I'm so sorry for hurting you, because you will be talking to their spirit, really. And their spirit will feel that. Forgive yourself and forgive them. And you might have other emotions come up with it too, and you'll have to go through it. But the root part of it is the ownership. That is one of, I tell everybody that is the root. When you start pulling out the roots and taking all these vines off of you that you don't want no more, weeding your garden out, you want to get to the root, it's because you own the feeling. You chose to own that feeling through ownership. And see, I've said this many times. The downfall of the human race, Rodney, do you remember this? What is the downfall of the human race? Rodney. I put you on the.
I didn't know there was gonna be a test here.
Okay. The downfall of the human race is expectations, because we all expect something, right? We've been programmed to expect it. But with expectations, guess what it creates? And this is the vine. These are the weeding of the vine that we have. It creates a judgment. And the judgment goes on down to ownership, because once you get the judgment, you've owned it. Oh, this is why this happened. This is why that happened like that. Well, that's ownership. Okay, that's the downfall of the human race, is because we have expectations. Okay. And if you look at that on a duality sort of thing, what should be in place of expectations? Acceptance of all things as is. Don't try to change it. Did that help, Pam?
Yes, thank you. Very much so. Thank you. I just, yeah, I guess, yeah, going back and apologizing and then letting go of the, and forgiving yourself.
Yes, the biggest part is forgiving yourself, because we were all We've all been programming. Sorry, Rodney, that I put you on the spot. Like that. But we all have to forgive ourselves because we carry a lot of guilt inside of ourselves and from the past, but it was because we weren't taught. But that's a blame too. Okay, the way I said that would be putting the blame, which is a judgment. So you have to be very careful how you speak your words out. But because that's how we were patterned and conditioned to do this. So we don't even realize we're doing it while we're talking. That's why you have to be in awareness so much, because you can create more vines to it while you're trying to help somebody clear it off of them. Do y'all understand what I just said?
I think those experiences shaped us for who we are. And without those experiences, we wouldn't be in this group. We wouldn't be in this circle looking for the answers.
Correct. But where does the answer fall at?
Within, yeah.
Yes, you're right, Robbie, you did good. The answer is inside of yourself. And a lot of people don't realize that. And a lot of people don't know how to even start getting into themselves. That's one of the reasons why we have this, we're doing this. And y'all are a part of it. That's why we talk. Because I don't want to be the only talker here, because we are all have the same emotions, go through the same things, because we're all connected. And that's what makes it such a beautiful thing. We are a masterpiece. Creator created a masterpiece when he created us.
I look back though, and I think my biggest mistake was, like you said, I gave too much of myself. I gave everything that I had, and I had nothing left for me. And when I got to the point where I had nothing left for me, I started getting mean. I started getting angry. I started getting irritable. I mean, those are the things I feel bad for,
don't feel bad for that. Okay, because, okay, that was a good example, because guess what? That is a human reaction, okay, to get mad and angry. Acceptance needs to be put in that place so that you accept that that's the way that you reacted to it at this time. But guess what? If it happens again at this moment in time that you know this stuff, you won't react like that.
I run to my room or my little cave when I start getting like that now. And I go be by myself and and try to center myself better and do this. Get back to the heart, get back to where I really do feel the love and acceptance of myself and of others.
And
but
so
I have to bring myself back into that balance.
I'm proud of you. I'm very proud of you, because it's very hard to do. It's very hard to take that stand and remove yourself so that you can do that.
Yeah.
But also when you're doing that, you can allow the other people around you to know why you are doing it. Which will also help create a new balance for you. Instead of, if you tell them why you're doing it, I need this time for myself, so I'm going to take this time to reflect on this and everything. I need a moment, and let them know that. Then they can't come back at you later through judgment, going, well, you went in there because you were mad and you stayed in there for 3 hours and didn't come out of your room, because that's how it creates that stuff, because we're in the human body. So while you're trying to correct yourself, you need to put in creativity something for the people that's on the outside going, why is she going in there? Oh, she's mad at me again. She's mad at me and she's gonna go hide for 3. tell them what you're doing. You know,
Okay, I do,
that's
I
gonna
do,
put
kind
you a
of- I did kind of do that. I told him, listen, I'm getting too upset and I just need to go calm down. And then I
Yes.
just walked away.
Let's see, what you're doing is actually putting a foundation root, okay, that you can stand upon, that is your authentic root. That hey, I need a moment to myself so I can recenter, and this is what I'm doing, and you go do it. No matter how they feel.
Yeah.
you
And when
know?
I do too
then
much is when I begin to, when I get irritable because I'm pushing myself. And then I
Right.
have to say, okay, you should have stopped about a half hour ago, Pam, because you're losing it. You're losing your center. So yeah, then I walk back. That's when I walk back to my room and say, listen, I just need a few minutes to myself. I need to calm, I need to rest. I've pushed too hard. I've done too much,
But see, you're kind of blaming yourself when you say, I pushed too hard, I done too much. You
okay.
gotta look at that and say, is that really the truth of why I'm going to my room? Because I pushed too much or I done too much? That's kind of like a lie to yourself, right?
Well, I
You're
was
not being-
thinking I was tired. I began to feel really tired.
Oh, yeah, so
Like-
they took your energy, you gave
Mhm.
all your energy out. But
I
see
did.
how tricky, I want to really show you how tricky words can be to get clogged up, okay? The words that you said to them, you were blaming yourself. You put blame on yourself. Because I had to go in here and rest because I'm exhausted now.
Mhm.
So guess what? You just heaped a whole bunch of blame on yourself in the energy field. Okay? And we're trying to clean all that out, right?
Yeah.
So like for you, I would suggest that you find a statement that is creative in love and honesty of your authentic self. I'm going to my room right now so I can rebalance myself because I need it. That's an
Mhm.
authentic statement. Okay. And you go in your room, but you let them know so that they can't bash you
Mhm.
and create more energy. And then you have that to stand up on, see it as the truth and your authenticity. And you're building a new pattern that way.
Yeah. Thank you.
And look, and then when you come out of your room, if they're still mad at you and say, well, you went in there and you stayed in there for da. You know how it works? Then you come back instead of getting mad at them and say, I am so sorry that affected you like that, but I really needed that time to that's authentic. And then that gives you another root to stand on. Does that make sense?
Yes,
And-
very
and-
much so.
When you tell another person that they don't have a comeback, because what they're trying to do is get you to fight them, because that's how they take your energy. Remember the two wolf story? Which one are
Mhm.
you? Well, if they're mad at you, you don't want to feed them any negativity to give them some more energy so they can slam you some more. So you want to balance that up with something positive for yourself that you can stand on. And what happens, it becomes neutral. Okay, where you can actually create something good out of it. And the more you do it, the more you'll be able to see how it works for you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I need that because I face that every day
I know you
with
do.
my teenagers.
Yeah, teenagers are bad, let me tell you.
They are so negative.
From
They-
15, look, from 15 on up, they think they own the world. Don't you remember when you were 15 and up? You owned the world, right?
Yeah, my granddaughter, I don't know if I was right or not. Sharon, tell me if I said the right thing. I was folding some clothes up and I asked my 13-year-old granddaughter to help take care of her things, and I said something about which clothes, is this your clothes or is that clothes? No, I don't think that's your clothes. And she started like with this attitude, like, well, Nana, you don't know this and you don't know that. It's kind of like, I'm correcting you, and I just popped out of my mouth. I said, well, it's not your place to correct your grandmother. She didn't say anything else. I don't know why I said that, but it just popped out. And I thought, was that the right thing to say? I don't know.
Well, you stood in your truth.
Yeah.
That was your authentic self. Okay, now was that the proper way? Maybe not. But it stopped her, didn't it?
Yeah, it did.
And she
It
thought
changed
about
her
it.
attitude. It corrected her attitude because I
Yeah.
had a good attitude. I was just working with her, and then she just got real, Nana, you're not right, something's wrong with you kind of thing,
Right.
and
Well, of course, because they really truly think they know it all when they're that age. and they go through a thing where they sleep all day long. And then they want to stay up all night. you know?
yeah,
But it's a pattern, and you got to understand that that's a pattern. And I'm gonna share with y'all because I really want y'all to think about this, because on a humanitarian level, when energy hits you, you might not feel it like I do because I'm a sensitive. I can feel it, and usually know where it's coming from. But most people are not sensitive like that. But on a humanitarian level, how many 15 to 20-year-olds do you know, or just think, that are not saying the same thing that yours are saying to their parent, and sleeping all day and staying up all night? Okay? It's a huge amount of energy because it's just not one teenager doing that. It's all
right.
of them. I mean, there might be a few that are in the awareness, that aren't doing that, but no. And that is a pattern and a cycle that we have been conditioned into. Okay, and I want y'all to see how big it grows, because it's everywhere. Energy is everywhere. And it's huge. So it's not just one person. It's everybody, and it's on a humanitarian level. And we got over there in Ukraine people fighting. They're trying to get China to start fighting. This is energy that people are pushing and directing, to make these things happen. All of us that are trying to be our authentic self, and there's a lot of us. We're called light workers, we're called medicine people, we're called shamans, we're called everything. We have labels because, there's labels, but we're just our own people. We're people like you. We feel the same thing, we get sick the same way. And guess what? We have a hard day just like you do. We don't know everything because we're going through it at the same time you're going through it. We just learn a little bit faster because we have the tools. We were given the tools, That's just the way it is. But on a human level, everybody that is in their authentic self is praying, is trying to create a positive energy field that we can ride upon. And it's working. It used to be really unbalanced, the negative side, but we're bringing it back up. The energy level's coming back up. Every day you can see different things happening. Something happened really today that surprised me, but I knew it was spirit. I knew it was spirit doing it. And it was showing me on a humanitarian level that things are changing drastically with a lot of people being unaware of it. Okay. And I don't know if y'all know the story about Little Feather. She was in one of the movies a long time ago. And she was Marlon Brandon, I think. Okay. Now I remember watching this movie, but I saw this on TV today and it made me go, you know, told her she couldn't not to accept the Academy Award or whatever they were giving her. So she got up and made a statement about how the Indians had been treated and stuff. Well, today they have decided to give her an apology for that. Now I don't think she's still alive. I don't know. But today on the news they have decided that it's long overdue an apology. You know, and so this took place too with the Pope, you know, with the Lakota people not too long ago, you know, about the boarding schools. Now, a lot of people can say that they're up to something, you know, but also it's a way of looking at things are coming around, whether people want to understand the energy or the, these are little signs that Spirit gives us every day to show you that things are changing and the energy is changing. And it's really quite wonderful when you can see those types of signs and wonders. And I've told Elizabeth this many times because me and Elizabeth have been friends for quite a while. But I'm going to write this book one day. I have many books I'm going to write, just haven't done it yet. But one of them is, do you see your signpost? That's the name of it. Do you see your signpost? And it's going to be about the signs and wonders of how Spirit comes to you, you know, so that you can see what's really happening in the world. Do you go through that stop sign, that red light, or do you really stop? Most of us, like I said, go through it and we're like 3 blocks ahead of it when we think, oh gosh, we should have stopped. Look what happened because I didn't stop. And I knew I should stop back then. You know? But it's going to be a little bit, but there's signs and wonders everywhere showing you the energy's coming and changing. So just keep your eyes open. Look around. Anybody else have any questions? Or something to say? Doesn't have to be a question.
I have something. Several years ago, I was going through a meltdown, and I think it was relationship related, and just losing my mind. And my guides spoke to me. They speak to me, and they says, Rodney, look around. They say, what has changed? I say, nothing has changed. This is all in your head. So stop it. And it snapped me out of it. It really did. And what you said about the devil is our egoic self, it grabs a hold of these lower vibrational energies and then it takes us for this ride. And it's like at any choice, we have the choice of getting off, right? And me and Sherry are actually working through this book here. It's about the shadow self. And it's really good. It's, you know, it gives instances where you can choose this way of thinking, or you can choose this way of thinking. So it's always this, the choice is ours. It's like the 2 wolves, it keeps coming back. Which one do we feed? So.
And it's wonderful just to work on it and start learning about yourself, because you're learning about yourself. And isn't it wonderful? I think Leo had a question, so I'm going to turn it over so y'all can see Leo. And Colleen over here. Let me know when they can
Yeah.
see.
Yeah.
Can y'all hear Leo?
You know, yeah, it just, all this kind of comes home, you know, is that
Leo.
Colleen and
See
I,
if they can hear you.
Colleen and I are, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Anyway, Colleen and I are, you know, constantly going through, you know, these challenges just like everybody is. And, you know, getting in the tar is so easy to do. it break that pattern so hard. But I think, you know, this, what Margarita's brought up today, all the things, and my own way I sum it up is calmness is king. It gotta be there. Anyway, that's just my little bit.
That was good. I like that. Yeah, try to stay calm.
Yeah.
Well, y'all, we're gonna end the class. I hope y'all had a wonderful time in class today. And have a beautiful week. Because we don't know what the week in stores for us. Try to go out and put joy in your life every day. Bring a smile to somebody. You know, but actually make yourself smile. You know, because you got the key now. I gave you the key. When it's bad, just smile. It'll make people wonder, why are you smiling? Because you know that energy has to change. It can always be stable. So you can have the biggest smile on your face. I love y'all. Robbie, would you do the closing prayer for us?
For sure. Father Sky, Mother Earth, all our ancestors, all our relatives, we thank you so very, very much for this time in this most sacred of circles. We thank you for the lessons from Shahawin, for the guidance, for the instruction, for the wisdom that you share through our beloved sister. We ask Most High, Most Divine, that you fill us with your spirit throughout this week, that you guide us in a good way, that you help us to always make those right decisions and realize that we have that choice. We have that choice which wolf to feed. And I pray that you give us those few moments of space before our emotions take control and allow us to make those correct decisions. Allow us to see we are at so many crossroads in so many days and help us to always make that right decision and always walk in a way that is pleasing in your sight. We thank you for these lessons, these tools that help us to live a life that is worthy of what you blessed us with. We thank you for our brothers and sisters in attendance of these meetings and the energy and the love that we feel from each other. And I pray that we lift each other up and fill each other with spirit as we walk through this week. We ask you protect us through this week, guide us in a good way, help us walk in a good way, and bless us in every way. We love you. We thank you. Aho.
Goodbye, everybody. Have a good week. See you next time.